ahead.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Tay. I'm an addict.
I'm Steve. I'm an addict.
And this is Chaos in Recovery.
A podcast aimed towards mental health and addiction in a chaotic world. Today, it's just me and Tay again.
Hi.
Back to episode 1.
Yay.
Yeah. So the format we kind of came up with, how we want to run the podcast, is we want to have a couple of people on that suffer from addiction. Of course, with mental health, it goes one in one. And then have somebody on who, like Justine, the last episode, owner of Soul Sanctuary, author, somebody outside of the addiction realm, but still in the mental health category, holistic category, things of that nature. Somebody that's not directly tied in, who isn't an addict and an alcoholic. We thought would be a good mix.
Yeah, I think we thought that having two different views of mental health, right? Like the addiction side versus not the addiction side, or whether it is things are addictive, because there are different addictive personalities. It doesn't just have to be alcohol or drugs.
Sure.
You know, it can be exercise, it can be shopping, it can be whatever it is. But to have that other side and the other, I don't know, kind of perspective, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's important. I know in future episodes, you know, we want to hear from also family members that have lost children or partners or fathers and mothers through addiction, because I think that's important for us to hear as addict and alcoholics, because we don't really understand the other side of things.
I think it was something that like really stuck out to me the last few weeks is during meetings. I feel like the topics have been, you know, like a lot of family death related things. So I feel like a lot of those topics were based on like trying to see the other sides of like how the addiction affects other family members and stuff like that outside.
Sure.
Because it is important to hear their views as well.
Yeah.
I think it's also good to hear views of therapists' point of views, you know, that one specialize in addiction, and other therapists that don't specialize in it too, you know, like that specialize in mental health. So
yeah, and like I said earlier, like I think they just go coincide with each other. I mean, you don't have addictive personalities without that mental health first.
Sure.
You know, I don't think the mental health comes after you start doing drugs and alcohol. I think when you start abusing anything, you're already in that mental health red area, so to speak. And I think that's very prevalent for a lot of different addictions, like you were saying, shopping or gambling or any of those fucking things. I know when you talked about, you know, the family side of things, I went to a funeral a couple weeks ago for a cousin through marriage who was in and out of rehabs and battling with addiction for a while, and finally came to meeting his end through an overdose and through fentanyl. And being at that wake and seeing the family members just devastated, you know, it hits home, because I don't understand the ramifications or the outreach of my destruction through drugs and alcohol. You know, I kind of get it, but I don't mentally and emotionally understand.
Yeah.
Because I haven't fully been in that place. You know, I've watched friends go up and down, in and out of recovery, and I've felt those emotions, but not somebody so close to me like a son or a family member. So that was that's tough to watch.
He was half your age, right?
He's
So,
27.
yeah. Oh, okay. So
27, two children. You know, it's tough. The last time I saw him was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I was in an inpatient program in Exeter, Rhode Island, and I had a couple days left, and he was coming in to go into detox.
Oh, wow.
And I think I was leaving the next day or the day after. So we didn't see each other in there, but when I saw him, I ran out, gave him a hug, and we were never really that close. But he was a little child running around. That's how I remember him. He was a young kid running around my grandparents' house and stuff. And it's tough, but for me, it's tougher to see the mother and how just devastated she was, and the sisters. We don't fully grasp what we do in the wake of our addiction.
I know, and I always think about that too. Like how it does affect everybody around without even thinking. Like you don't know it. You're kind of like blind to it.
Sure.
You don't see that other side.
Not when you're in the middle.
Not when you're in the middle. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm so sorry. That is horrible.
Yeah. Like once again, my pain just goes out to their family and how they deal with it. And, it's very interesting to me how families deal with something like that after that happens. Because no parent should ever have to bury a child. I mean, I can't even imagine losing one of my children.
No.
I'd be fucking crushed.
Yeah. It's like not even a thought. Like I couldn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must have had a bunch of different waves of emotions after that as well. Just.
Well, yeah. I mean, this may sound funky to say to some people, but I needed to see that. I needed to see how much devastation drug abuse brings and death through drug abuse brings.
Explain that to our audience.
I think it goes with the theme of I don't fully understand what the ramifications are, or the outreach that's like the tentacles, so to speak. Like it brings unpeace and discomfort and frustration and sadness that, a person like me who thought they were just hurting themselves does to other people. And I don't ever want to have somebody be so devastated crying by my casket because I wasn't able to put the work into my recovery to begin to grow and heal.
Sure.
Any death is tough, but a 27-year-old with 2 children kid never had a chance.
No, not at all.
And the tougher thing was what I was told, he was doing pretty good before that. He had about 90 days clean and
wow.
Decided to go back out. And
so he didn't leave in a note or anything or say as to why he went back out. I know he didn't know he was gonna pass, but it's just something I always think about what makes people. I mean, obviously everybody has their own reason as to why they go back out, but it's a very sad process, to think about how scary it is inside your head, those thoughts that just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone out and relapsed so many different times for so many different reasons, and none of them were good enough reasons. It's never a good enough reason to go back out. But sometimes when I was homeless and I wasn't seeing my kids and I had a half-assed job or whatever, I could talk myself into just going back out because I didn't have anything.
Sure.
And to get to a point to be able to cherish your life enough to put so much work into recovering, I had to relapse so many times. I had to have so many things taken away from me. I had to cry so many nights while using to get to a place of understanding that the pain I was feeling had to go away somehow, and using wasn't going to take that pain away.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that took that pain away was beginning to start to love myself, beginning to start to work on myself, beginning to go and get validation from other alcoholics and addicts at meetings and get a sponsor and do the steps. And I didn't know I needed that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. How are your steps going now?
Oh, good.
What step are you on?
Well, we're on 10, 11, 12.
Awesome.
So I'm still in the middle of step 9.
Okay.
I've got amends to make. But yeah, with on 10, 11, 12, we just met yesterday. 10, daily inventory. Take a look at yourself, what you think you did wrong, or no, what you think you could improve on, what you did right, and what are you grateful for. And I was supposed to text him 3 of those things in each category every single day.
For how long?
And there's no end. There's no end.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, and the explanation to that was from my sponsor was you're always seeking growth in your day.
I like that.
You're always looking back on your day and not just dismissing that day.
Okay.
You know, you're taking accountability for that day also.
Sure.
It's not just another day. You have a goal in mind, and you have, you know, you have progress in your thoughts.
I like that.
Yeah, it's great. And then 11, meditation, 12, helping others. So he basically said, you know, you're already doing, I don't do much meditation.
Yeah.
But, you know, my prayer in the morning is a form of meditation. You know, maybe taking a walk is a form of my meditation.
Nice.
And then 12, I try and help whoever I can.
Great.
You know, newcomer, go talk to them.
Love that.
You know, do this.
Yeah.
You know, talking to our friend group every single
Sure.
day, giving advice, staying connected.
Yeah.
Talking.
It's like even little things, right? Like that you can help.
Absolutely. Just a fucking good morning. How are you?
Yes.
Like, you
Absolutely.
know, I need that some days.
Yeah.
You know, and I need that from like people that aren't my family.
Sure.
You know, I need people that are addicts and alcoholics saying, "Hey, I care," in different forms. "Hey, I care about you," wondering what you're doing today.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do today?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the simple things go such a fucking long way,
Yeah.
because I need to know people care about me.
Sure. Absolutely.
It makes me feel better, and also makes me feel better that they know that I care about them.
Sure. Validation on both ways.
Right? Absolutely.
I absolutely agree. How many months are you now?
Coming up on 5 months. How many months are you?
I am a little over 5.
That's awesome.
Good
Love
job.
that. Yeah.
What is the biggest thing? Sorry, my hand's so sweaty. What are the biggest things that you feel that have been helping you stay sober, like lately?
Well, obviously doing the steps, having a good sponsor, but definitely our friend group.
Yeah.
I love this saying, but I might botch it up. But I heard somebody say that, you know, the friends you make in recovery turn out to be your biggest supporters and your biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
You know, more so than your family does, even though your family is fucking like always there, always consistent, loves you unconditionally. When you meet a new friend group and they're always constantly worried about if you're having a good day, always giving you praise, like your new friend group doesn't know you using. So they have picture inside of their head that you can do no wrong.
Sure.
You know, as long as like you're a good person.
Yeah.
Like there's people out there that fucking, you know, I don't know, don't deserve my attention, but but like the people I like to consistently be around are the people that put me in a place of gratitude and comfort and appreciation and love, and that it's a different type of love, your friends in recovery, than your family. And to family members that might sound offensive or unsettling, but family members should be grateful that you have that connection with these people that are trying to do the same thing you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's only to better yourself so you can show up for your family as a better version than when you were using.
I love that.
You know, because your family knows you when you're using.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bias, there's a lot of resentments, there's a lot of caution.
Oh, good. Yeah.
There's a lot of scared, when is the shoe gonna fall for you?
Yeah.
So it's tough for them to be your number one supporter all the time. It's tough for them to be your biggest cheerleader. It's tough for them to not emotionally act on their resentments when something comes up. And your friends aren't biased in that way.
Yeah.
You know, your friends look at you and see the person they love as a friend. You know, and it's totally different. And
It is totally different.
yeah, I know, like, I know it may, so like for a partner, it might be very tough to hear that
Yeah.
and understand that.
Yeah.
But learning more about it and going to Al-Anon and trying to understand that part of the recovery, it's like going to a meeting every night and your partner getting upset. You know, because you're spending time away from them.
Yep.
When you've spent so much time away from them through use already.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so it's like, this should be my time.
So it's like instead like of it something else taking you away. Like,
Yes, right.
It's like a substitute.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When in the long run, this is exactly what addicts and alcoholics need in
Yeah.
early sobriety.
Yeah.
You know, they need that constant validation from friends. They need that support group.
Yes.
They need those meetings. If without those three, their recovery is nothing.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Community is a huge thing.
yeah.
Huge.
Absolutely.
thing. I would say that's definitely the number one thing.
Yeah.
That like keeps people connected, like the connection, obviously. But I agree because I feel like at times they're like, but you know what? I have to say, I feel lucky though because whenever I like want to go to a meeting or have to go to a meeting, like I'm able to go, right? Like
Yeah.
meaning like there's no like friction because I want to go,
Right,
which
right.
is nice.
And that's
However, I do feel like because I have grown with such a support group, like our group of friends, like is our group of friends,
Yeah.
right? Like that's our solid crew.
Yeah.
Like, and I could be with you guys all day, every day.
Yeah.
But there comes a time where I do have to have that like boundary, right?
Of
Because
course.
I have a family and because I have a kid and I have my time too. Like just like we all do have to do
Right.
it. Like you all have your families, you all have your time and stuff like that. But like if it were up to us, we would have everybody together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Right.
and be with each other constantly.
Yeah.
Because it's just like we still get that validation. We still get that constant happiness. You know, like we get that realness. But the cool thing about it too, like I think is like, and we have a friend that says this all the time, but like we can literally be our truest self
Yeah.
around us and there be no wrong.
Right. And that's another thing that's important because we've been wearing masks for almost our entire lives.
Yeah.
Trying to pretend to be somebody else or be liked by somebody else or act a certain way for a certain family member so they won't be suspicious of us or, you know, whatever the cause may be. When you find these friends in recovery, like all of the shields are down.
Yeah.
You know, like I found friends in recovery, but not like the group of friends I have now. You know, and also we're all showing up for each other in the best way we possibly fucking can,
Yeah.
which is special for us, you know. And I haven't had the need to lie or the thought process to lie to my friend group or to manipulate my friend group. Like all the bad behaviors that I was acting on before
Yeah.
to show face or to pretend I was a better person than I thought I was or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like I don't need those things around my friend group.
Yeah.
And that makes me more confident in my recovery, and I'm also able to like bring that out into the real world.
Sure.
You know, I think just coming together and being the best version of us together like helps us in so many other different areas in life.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like maybe you've gotten like not just you, but like anybody in general can get like too comfortable to where like that other side creeps out again? Like,
Oh, I think that's always. I don't think you ever let go of those parts.
yeah,
I think,
the maintaining part.
yeah, I think that all of those parts, and I don't want to call them bad characteristics or whatever, you know, because they served us well in the past.
Sure.
You know, even though they might have been destructive, they served a purpose for us.
Yeah.
So I think those parts always will subconsciously be around. It's how do you maintain them, or how do you work on those parts to transform them in a different way. And I know for me, when every time I relapsed, it took one hit of meth or one drink, and I was right back to using every single one of those bad bad parts.
Sure.
Not bad parts. Those bad, no, I said it again, bad. I don't think they're bad.
Don't say bad.
Destructive
Okay.
parts.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of work that has to go into transforming those parts or being okay with finding new traits that you love about yourself. You know, the worst ones for me are the lying thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I go into early recovery and I'm still lying. I'm doing the first thing that comes out of my mouth type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I am still trying to present myself in a certain way. Or, you know, I remember a few times I would, in my past, that I've said I've had more recovery than I had. Like anybody else fucking cares, you know?
Yeah.
But like it made me feel, I don't know if it made me feel better, but you know, I wanted to look better than I was, which that is my using
Yes.
era.
Sure.
And it made me feel like shit afterwards. Like, what are you doing? I remember lying about lunch a few times. Like literally lying about lunch. Like, oh yeah, I went here instead of fucking Burger King.
I wonder
But-
why you did that.
You know, and you know, it's all wrapped into the self-confidence, what people think of me.
Yeah.
If I say a certain thing,
Yeah.
I think they will like me better.
Funny how you like will do something so little, right? Like just like the lunch thing.
Yeah.
Like that's like the littlest thing, the easiest thing you didn't have to lie about,
Right.
right? But you did it anyway because it's like, I don't know why they call those white character defects, right? But we're not trying to call them that, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I like character defect is, I don't know, my counselor has got me big on parts. You know, like I was saying last week about the IFS. I don't want to go down that trail at all right now, but you know, all of those traits or parts that a lot of people call character defects, they all serve a certain positive thing for you, or so you think. You know, and I had to lie about the little things because I was lying about all the big things. And I couldn't stop at, just doing the big things,
Yeah.
lying about the big things.
Yeah.
It had to be everything. I also like spit the first thing that came out of my mouth because I wanted to look like I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
About everything. Or
Did you believe yourself at times?
hell no. No. I've always been a very aware person. But that being said, I can manipulate myself very quickly
Sure.
into thinking, yeah, you're right. That was a bad thing that you did, but you had to do it because of this, and this is the positive outcome that may come from it. So let's be okay with that, so that way we can maybe get the big thing that we want in the end. And I always used to say, like, I am my biggest liar and manipulator to myself. I am my own worst enemy when it comes to lying and manipulating, because I can't lie to you or manipulate you unless I lie and manipulate to myself first.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
that's such a fucking sick game that I need to play with myself sometimes to like construct the future the way I need it to be constructed.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's exhausting.
So you got your 5-month chip.
I did.
When was the last time you had 5 months of sobriety?
Probably like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
But it was like, actually, like, where are we? Like, no, maybe like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 years ago. It's probably 2 Februarys ago. But it was,
Sobriety, not recovery.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm like really trying to remember. It was either last year or the year before.
Okay.
But it was like before, obvious. Like it was in the last like year or two.
How were you staying sober then?
I just wasn't doing it.
Wasn't picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought I didn't need like the community support therapy, like all that.
Sure.
All that jazz,
Yeah.
So I don't know, like every time, I don't know, but it's weird, like, because I always like, all right, so we talk about this pink cloud, right?
Yeah.
In early recovery.
What's that?
The pink cloud. So like, I want to say, I feel like I have a little bit, I know the actual definition, but I have a little bit of, and maybe my definition is close to it, but I feel like everybody has their own little definitions of it, right? So like mine is like I feel like I'm kind of like skating through like this happiness
Sure.
float kind of.
Yeah.
And like it hasn't stopped.
Right.
So the pink cloud meaning like you kind of get up on that high of like I'm doing really well, like I feel really good, I'm going to keep skating.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the line of your recovery it drops.
Right.
And then you kind of have to like figure your shit out.
Right.
Right? Is that like essentially
Oh
it?
yeah, I love that definition.
Cool,
You know-
because I feel like I'm still skating.
yeah.
So that is why. And I feel like kind of shitty sometimes saying that when I like at the end of like towards like the end of IOP,
Yeah.
I was saying like I still kind of feel like I'm floating on it because like I haven't had any like desire to drink. I haven't had any desire to like do that. But maybe it's because I surrounded myself immediately with friends.
Yeah.
Like well, maybe not. Like maybe I didn't. Maybe I actually took time because if I think about it, I didn't really talk to anyone until Aaron talked to me.
Yeah.
And that was probably like not like I didn't talk to anyone. I just didn't hang out with people.
Sure.
And that was probably like January when Aaron like talked to me. Maybe January, February.
Yeah.
And that's when we first started like all hanging out.
Right.
So from then till then, like I was kind of just like, now I'm just skating by,
Yeah.
right, on the pink cloud. But I still haven't had any like desire to drink at all. And I also think it's because the last time I did drink was literally the worst like time of my drinking.
Yeah.
So I kind of have like scars from that.
Sure.
Like I have a scarred memory.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like being able to stay sober is like, I do go to a lot of meetings. Like
Yeah.
maybe not as much as I should. Like, but for me personally, like I think I'm doing a good amount for my recovery.
Yeah.
And I hang out with really only sober people.
Right.
And as much as I love my friends from before, like I also have friends that I don't have to talk to for 6 months and they can still come. We can like talk in 6 months and it can pick right back up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure.
But not because they're my drinking friends.
Right.
Or I have other friends that I just don't see the need to be in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to come to terms with too.
Yeah.
You
Was it
know?
a hard thing to do?
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
Like yeah, because like they're part of your life for so long,
Sure.
right? And then and then I had like a wanting to like rekindle it, but then I really had to sit back and think like, is this good for my recovery, and is it good for my well-being?
Right.
And I think those are the things that like you really have to like think about, if you want those people in your life again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a very tough thing, even when you step into the realm of what family members are positive for you.
Sure.
Because I therapy, going through that PHP program that we went through, the counselors really challenged you to think about who is positive in your life.
Yeah.
And who is toxic, and why are they toxic, and what are your involvement in that toxicity also? Are you feeding off of it?
Yeah.
Are you using because of it? Are you holding on to these relationships because it's an out to go use?
Yeah. Sure.
And I think a lot of partnerships have to be really examined when you go into are serious about recovery.
Yeah.
And I know one of our friends is having a very tough time with their parents. And as far as I'm concerned, she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
But it took her a lot of time to be okay with understanding how much involvement she can have with them right now.
Yeah.
Because it is toxic for her.
Sure.
It does bring up a lot of emotional and mental stress and frustration. And so that's very fucking tough when you branch the gap between friends and family and who you should be around and who you shouldn't be around.
Yeah.
What is going to be more beneficial for you?
Right.
Like, I look at early recovery as almost harm reduction, so to speak, in a way. Like, pick what you need and leave the rest for now.
Yes.
When you're mentally and emotionally able to deal with a lot of those things further along in your recovery, okay, now we can step into those doors.
Yeah.
And we can have those conversations with different family members about how they affect you. But like when you're ready, you don't have to like fucking go in and be like,
I think it's important to notice that, yes, everything that you just said, but to add just a little on top of that is that when you are ready to go and have those conversations, those people might not be there and, or ready for you when you come back.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And if they're not there, you have to be mentally prepared because you weren't ready at first to have that conversation, and that's okay. You just have to be mentally prepared that if you go back, right, to have that hard conversation or address or confront whatever it is, or even like do the amends, like if you don't want to talk to somebody or have that hard conversation until your amends step, they might not be there anymore. But you have to be understanding of it. You don't have to be okay with it,
right?
But you have to understand, right? And then kind of like circle back and be like, okay, well, moving on then, And I think like the one thing that when I think about, the people that I want in my life going forward is that I have to take whatever. I had to realize two things. One was I don't want somebody to be in my life that makes me feel anxious. That's just like my number one rule now.
Yeah.
Like I don't want anybody in my life that's going to make me feel anxious.
Sure.
In any type of way.
Right.
If I feel a bad energy and like, cause I ignored all those energies before. Like if I feel it now, I'm like, no disrespect. Like I wish you no wrong. Like I wish you the best, but I'm not going to have you in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And two, oh my gosh, what was my second one? Yeah. Well, anyway, that was the one thing that I really like. That was like my number one thing actually. Yeah. but also like, again, being okay with it and knowing like I may not have had like the time to talk, or it wasn't the right time to talk or whatever, but it's okay. Like if we go our separate ways, we go our separate ways.
Yeah. It's almost like a fight, like with a significant other, like trying to table that.
Yeah.
And because it's escalating too much.
Yeah.
And if they don't receive that well, it could turn even worse.
Exactly.
I know.
And
like, you still have to hold your ground and just be like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to like address this right now or continue to address this.
Yeah.
Let's table it for when we're both ready to meet.
Yes.
And I got to let my higher power step in and just be like, and reassure me that I'm making the right move.
Absolutely.
Like, before something is said that or somebody is fucking punched in the face or something.
Yeah.
Because
I think too, actually, I do remember the second thing. The second thing that I came to terms with too during therapy and everything was that there are two sides, to like, it's not just one person that has to take full responsibility of things.
Oh, sure.
It's like, it's literally a partnership. So like, if you're friends with somebody or you're in a relationship, it is a partnership. Like, no matter what, like that, if you go your separate ways, you go your separate ways. Like, and it can be mutual if you want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, and it's very tough for significant others or family members to understand that as much as the addict or alcoholic is sick and suffering, they are also sick and suffering in their own ways.
Yeah.
And to think that, because I had a significant other who in my perception always thought that I was the problem. As long as I got help, everything would be okay. And it's just not like that. As much as they need help, the family member or significant other also needs that help. Always also needs to grow one out of their resentment, because, the resentments are for addicts, alcoholics, are what take us down.
Yeah.
And continue to take us down. I think that's why the steps are so important in your long-term recovery.
Yeah.
Because you look at those resentments, you work on them. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of them you do get over as far as the resentments go.
Sure.
But some of them you might still have and hold and stuff, and for precautionary reasons and stuff, but they get diminished through that process,
Yeah.
And it's a very tough place for family members and significant others when they think that through an addict's and alcoholic's addiction that they're the only ones suffering.
Yes. Yes.
And then I also see the other side where family members become the victim and play the victim, and which brings even more destruction into the relationship and stuff. And I don't want to go down that road, because I could have a whole episode on
we can save it
on fucking victim role playing.
We should have an episode on that.
Yeah, because I used to love doing it.
All right, let's do it.
I loved being the victim.
All right.
We're
having an episode on it then, because I have a bunch of questions.
Okay, let's table that.
I'll table it.
Yeah.
So how is your life? How are you managing your life right now outside? Okay, so we're about a month outside of the program, finishing the program.
Yeah.
Right? So how are you doing?
I'm great.
How's how's work? How's everything going?
Yeah, so work's been good. I've been getting a lot more responsibilities.
Can you tell everybody what you do?
Yeah, so I work in a family construction business run by my sister, and who my father started it 20 years ago, and then my sister opened up a new shop, and so which she does an amazing job. You'll see her in the 3rd episode in June.
How
She'll
exciting.
be on. Yeah. This is also her living room, which she lets us use every week, which is amazing.
Shout out to Jess.
Shout out to Jess. I mean, she's an amazing fucking human. She does so much. Like, you'll figure it out.
She's my girl crush, actually.
And
Cat's out of the bag.
and so she runs the business, and I was clean for about 10 months last. So it's a construction business. We're a union construction business, and so about 10 months ago, I was doing very well. I was at that outpatient program. Pretty serious about my recovery, and I started working for my sister, and she gave me a lot of responsibility. She gave me a van to drive around. She gave me a credit card. She gave me a lot of trust as far as running jobs and this, that, the other thing. And as my sobriety was progressing, and I relapsed in, I think it was October. I went back to the program, was there for about 2 months, and then New Year's Eve, I relapsed again. I went to the casino here in Rhode Island, spent all my money gambling and
No way.
drinking and doing drugs, and I had the credit card on me, business credit card. So I racked up a couple thousand on the credit card, and this wasn't the first time I used her business credit card. And so, obviously, everything got taken away from me, rightfully so. The guilt and shame I had towards myself for that was immense, because of how much trust she was giving back to me. I went back to that PHP program in January, spent 2 months there working being there 5 days a week, so not working and on TDI. And when I was done with the program, me and my sister had a sit-down conversation.
Oh, was this part of your amends?
No.
Okay.
I haven't done my amends to her
Oh,
yet.
okay. Sorry.
No, this was like 3 months ago.
Oh, okay.
And we talked about me working again for her. And slow but steady, the last couple months, she's been entrusting me with a lot more in the company, which feels good. And it also gives me a lot of, I don't know how to phrase this, but it gives me a lot of reassurance of what I want to be doing in my recovery. Mm-hmm. I want to show my sister and my family that I'm reliable, responsible, making educated decisions, being where I'm supposed to be when I say I'm supposed to be, and things like that. And I appreciate the trust that's given back to me, and I don't take it lightly.
Yeah.
So I've been really working hard at my recovery so I can still trust in others too, Mm-hmm. So work's been good.
Awesome.
Yeah. What was the other part of it?
I just wanted to know how work was
and
how's like the transition of like coming out of Ocean State.
It's been great. I still go to meetings every day, if not two. Still talk to my network. Still talk to my sponsor every day. Do the steps. Like, I do a lot.
You're doing it all.
Fucking work.
Yeah.
But how about you? I know you have a lot of moving parts as far as what you do for work and stuff like that.
I do. Yeah, I do a bunch of things. So I'm technically a freelance hairdresser, slash hairstylist, makeup artist, whatever you want to say. So a long time ago, I used to work on film. I did it like off and on for like 3 years. Super, super. Don't get me wrong. I have like two sides of it. It was very fun and it was a lot of experience, and I'm glad I did it. But at the same time, it was extremely toxic. Long hours, like longer than normal, and you weren't really treated right. So I did that for 3 years, but the money was stupid. It was ridiculous. So I'm like, how can you say no when you're a broke, in your 20s, when you, right. A broke girl in your 20s. So Yeah, I did do that for a while. About 10 years ago, I opened up a wedding business. And I pretty much travel just doing weddings. I have a partner, Courtney. She does the makeup and I do the hair, and we do weddings together. Like, that is our thing. But I also do a side business which is my main business. Technically, weddings are my main business, but I also have like my main business, which is TJ Artistry, and that is pretty much like I freelance and do it all. Like, I work with photographers, around Rhode Island, doing boudoir shoots, doing photo shoots, I do commercials. I work in Boston at operas. I do playhouses. I do a bunch of all that other stuff. But I don't do it constantly.
Yeah.
I can't, because I think I've tried it before and like it's just taken me completely out.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, it's just like I loved that thrill of it because it was just like the restaurant world. Like, it was just like constantly going and going and going. And I loved that thrill, but like, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good for me. So now I just take on, like, weddings are my main thing. I work on a salon, like during the week, Wednesday through Saturday, unless I have weddings.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to build, a clientele right now. I have had my license for a long time. I just never wanted to be in the salon. I was in a salon for 3 years in Newport. I didn't love it. I loved working at the salon. I learned a lot from my mentors, but my clientele was all wedding based. So I decided to open up my own business. And then when I did that, it like took off. I met Courtney and it took off. And that was great. So we've been doing that together for the last 10 years. But yeah, so that's what I do for work. And then I'm in the process of moving.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
Yeah, moving. We're buying my in-laws' house, which is great. Like, Angelo can grow up in his dad's house, that he grew up in, and that's awesome. We're super excited about that. It's a lot. Moving's a lot.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't moved in a long time.
Yeah.
So, and the last time I moved was from California to the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a while.
Right.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, being outside of the program, I'm trying to like collect everything. I'm trying to like collect my life together now, because like you go from being in a program and not doing anything. Like, yes, I'm home and yes, I'm around my family, but like, we're at school pretty much all day.
Yeah.
So doing all of that and then not having all of that in your life and then going from all of it to nothing and having all your life shit come back.
Yeah.
And like getting it in order again, it takes a lot.
Sure.
So I think I'm in the process right now of like trying to like take everything in order, but I'm also moving on top of it, so it's kind of like taking like a different like turn, but I'm also trying to make sure like I incorporate recovery, like I still go to my meetings during the week.
Yeah.
Like our one day group, we do the podcast, we hang out with our friends. Like I do a lot for my recovery, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had a couple, I'm trying to like get back into the gym and stuff like that, because that was like really big for me too, especially with my mental health.
Right.
Like I had a couple opportunities to teach spin. I mean, I used to teach spin before I went to the program. And I had a couple opportunities to teach again.
Yeah.
And I was so close to doing it because I just wanted that life back and I wanted that thrill back, and like having that, like, I have an addictive personality, so I want what I want, and I want to make and I wanted to like be back up on that podium again. But I really had to sit back and think about it. I'm like, one, I have a lot of like moving parts around it, and I have to like figure that out first. And two, I don't, just because I'm coming out of this program, I don't want to take so much on anymore.
Sure.
Like I am trying to change and do things differently than I did 5 months ago, and I don't need to do that, and luckily I have people that surround me that are supportive of that, and, other people that are like, you take your time. When you're ready, you come to me.
Right.
And that
right.
feels good to me because that just means I feel validated and heard.
Yeah.
Like it's scary to go up to somebody and be like, hey, I can't do this because I have to work on myself.
Right.
Because I have to work on myself. I need to put myself first, and I have to, when I'm ready, I'll come to you. But getting that validation of being like, good for you.
Yeah.
You should be proud of yourself. When you're ready to take this step, come talk to me.
Right.
And like hearing that was something that I was like so deathly afraid to say that I needed to not do it, to take time for myself. But like hearing what I wanted to hear back, thinking it wasn't ever going to be said.
Yeah.
Is like the best feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a form of weakness when we think that, if we tell somebody we can't do something that we know we can do.
Yeah.
Because that we need to work on ourselves, like the stigma around feeling weak, when in actuality, like that's such a strong, powerful move.
Yeah.
To know what you can handle right now. And know that you can still do this anytime in the fucking future.
Yeah.
You've proven that to yourself.
Yeah.
But now is the time that you need to concentrate on other things is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like a tough decision for me. Like, I'm all in. I'm either all in or all out, you know? And like, I really wanted to do it. And I was just like, no, right now I need to focus on me. And like, right now, what's important is my family and my friends in recovery and my recovery. Like, that is literally the 3 things that like I want to focus on.
Sure.
And granted, I do have other friends outside of recovery, but I also have those friends know like the situation I'm in, and they respect that situation.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. Like, not all of them are like that.
Right.
But I have like 2 or 3 outside that know that like we just have this connection, like that I can text her and be like, hey, I just want you to know, like, I still love you. Like, I'm just like doing my thing right now.
Yeah.
And the response I get from her is like, I know, and I'm proud of you. And you should be really proud of yourself. I'm here when you're ready.
That's awesome.
And like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I don't have a lot of those, you know,
sure.
but like to know that you have like 1 or 2, that's all you need.
Yeah. I was sitting here listening to you, and when you started talking about your friends, like, you mentioned Erin before.
Yeah.
That she came to you and kind of like broke you into like going out with her or whatever, and she did the same with me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And like that was always a lot of pretty hard for me to like go up to somebody at a meeting or go up to somebody at an IOP and be like, do you want to go do something after this or whatever? Because my first thought is they probably don't like me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fucking. Why am I going to embarrass myself right now?
Right.
You know what I mean? But she was such a catalyst for like all of us getting together.
Yeah.
And much appreciation for people like that.
Yeah. I agree. I was
And
just
her,
for sure. I just think like I am like that, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I won't, it's almost like I won't make the first move, but follow that, like, I'm in.
Right,
and like, I'm your team player.
Yeah, like, once I'm in the middle, I'm fine. Like, just breaking the ice is tough for me,
And I think what really helped with that situation, I don't think I'll ever forget that day that I met Erin. I really don't. Like, and I think it's because, like, it was just so, like, prominent of, like, I walked in, I remember this, like I walked into the office and I was like, what's going on? You know how like when you first walk in and the door's closed because everyone's meditating, right?
Yep.
Or whatever, 1 and 2 are meditating. So we're all sitting there, but then it's all girls. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, what's happening? And everyone's like, oh, they are separated the week. So it's the co-ed or the whatever, the women's and men's week. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this should be fun. And I just remember somebody was like, no, it shouldn't. It wasn't fun last time. And that was probably the best week I had at Ocean State, actually. Granted, I love being in verse rooms. Like I think it's great to have men and women and like go back and forth. Yeah. Because some like room 3, best room. Right. That was just, we had the best. Like, but I really did enjoy the women's week, but because I feel like a lot of those women got in touch with like their inner selves, like, and really hard shit, that they had to get off.
Yeah.
But Erin came up to me when we were all waiting outside, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And I, like, literally just like that. Like, can't you hear it?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And I was like, "Me?" And she's like, "Yeah, what are you doing tonight?" I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, "You want to go to a meeting? We're all going to a meeting."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sure." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Let me see if I can get a babysitter." That's like my number one answer to everything is let me
yeah.
see if I can get a babysitter. But I was like, "Let me see." And I was like, "But I'll figure it out." She's like, "Well, I'll go make cookies at my house."
Yeah.
Or she said cinnamon buns at my house, and then we'll go to the meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, this sounds so awful, but like, I'm going to go. And I remember immediately, Steve, I immediately texted Rob, and I was like, "Oh my God, I just got invited to this girl's house for cinnamon buns and like coffee before the meeting. And I think I'm going to go." And like, it was like I was 12 again.
Yeah. Sure.
But like, she made you feel like, it's so funny because I always looked at Erin as like, she was like that like head honcho of like Ocean State because she had been there, and but I do have so much respect for people that can just go up to people and just pull them in, especially if like you can see somebody just having a bad day,
right
you know?
Yeah, and she was great about that. Like, it didn't matter who you were. If she could tell like kind of you were off or something, she was going after you
100%,
or if she knew you hadn't been to a meeting and you might be cautious about going to a meeting, she was on your ass.
Oh yeah,
if you knew her or not.
I think that's what I loved about her, though.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
Totally drew me in. I was like, oh yeah, I love this girl.
Yeah,
I just think it's so needed, and I feel like everybody needs a friend like that,
right?
That just, and she always she spits her mind too, like, which I do love too, and I think everybody needs somebody like that.
Yeah.
Which you all will get to know Erin one day.
July.
First
week of July.
She's very excited.
Yeah.
We actually have some pretty cool guests coming up.
Yeah. Absolutely. We haven't even talked about what this last month
so
was.
We won't. We should talk about it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, first we want to thank all of our guests for coming on.
Absolutely. It was...
Yeah. So let's just recap the first month real quick.
Yeah.
We had some mishaps, right? At the beginning.
Sure.
And I remember us just getting completely like very nervous about like we wanted to make sure everything was perfect. Of course we knew, because that's just like that's what we want. But once things started to happen, we were like, okay, this is how it has to be. Mistakes are going to happen.
Yeah.
And we have, we have enough, I don't know, energy and everything to make this work.
Right.
So things are going to happen. Mistakes are going to happen. And we're just going to get through it. We have to put it out no matter what.
Yeah.
And we still have views, and that's great. And I love that. We clearly are putting out a message, which is what we wanted, right?
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that our videos and everything are helping people, as well as it is helping us as well.
Sure.
We had CJ come on for the first episode.
Yeah.
It was originally.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
Yep. Tape got lost.
Yep.
And we had to redo it a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
So we ended up bringing Eddie on, who is Steve's sponsor.
Yeah.
I love Eddie.
Yeah, he's a great. I mean, he's been fucking so pivotal for my recovery, but he's also he's like Erin. Like, he will talk to anybody, have conversation, very personable, has a lot of time under his belt, but he doesn't fuck around.
Yeah.
He'll tell you exactly how it is, which I love. And if you're not doing enough, you're fucking being told you're not doing enough.
Yep.
If you're doing great, you're being told you're doing great. It's very cut and dry, which I need.
Yeah.
I don't need this fucking sponsor that steps around things and avoids things because, he's in early recovery. Let's walk on eggshells with him. No, fucking tell me what the fuck I got to do, because I don't know what the fuck I got to do.
Yeah. Sure.
So, and he was great. He's got a great story and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, I enjoyed him being on.
Yeah, so did I. It's funny, like I just can't believe I didn't recognize him.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
But I do. I agree. I think that was awesome to see. You know, like the you two interact because I heard you always talk about him.
Yeah.
So like to see that connection like in real life
Sure.
is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also the insight that he has is insane.
Yes.
And I even got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Thank you for bringing him
No,
on.
yeah, it was great.
And then we had CJ
Yep.
Next.
Second time
Finally,
around.
second
Yep.
time around. What a guy.
Oh, I love him. I mean, one, so interesting.
So interesting.
Two, so personable. But it's got a lot of things going on that, you know, if you're not in the right place and you're dealing with the things he's dealing with,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to stay sober.
Sure.
And he's doing it. He's not only doing it, he's also finding other ways to be okay with the situation he's in. And I give him so much fucking credit and admiration. And I mean, he's that guy that, once again, we see these people as the kind of the best version of them.
Yeah.
We don't know them in their use.
Right.
So like I look up to him as like a person of integrity and responsibility and reliability, and he's very intelligent and educated in his own right, and there's so many things that were amazing in both of those tapings. We have the first taping on audio,
Which we will throw out one day.
yeah, absolutely,
Because it was fantastic.
absolutely. But he texted us. He said in the taping how his father, you know, him and his father didn't have the best relationship, and he wanted more out of that.
Yeah.
He texted us 3 or 4 days after that episode aired, and told us how appreciative he was to have him on and talk about those things, because his father reached out to him and they had one of the best conversations he said they've ever had. And he mentioned that was everything he wanted from his father.
Yeah.
And so to hear that is like the epitome of what this is about to us. And you know, I got emotional a little bit because, you know, these are the things that we miss during active use.
Yeah.
That we're able to do in recovery. You know, we're able to have those conversations now and stuff. And so, yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, I think I just love CJ. I think he's incredible. He really is. He's he's honestly the biggest teddy bear.
Yeah.
But he is so smart. He listens to everything and he takes it all in.
Yeah.
And he also dishes it out, and he also questions things, which I love. He also can, you know, he'll give you advice as well as taking it without criticism, and I think that's a huge thing, you know. And you know, even if he criticizes it inside, he doesn't really let it out unless it's needed to be, which you know, which I think is a pretty mature thing in where he is. For most of you guys who don't know, he is going through a lot in his personal life right now, and to be sober at what he's dealing with is incredible. He's an incredible human, and the cool thing about our group is like we also have an extended group as well.
Yeah.
And we, no matter what, will always be here for him. So
Absolutely.
That's a great thing, and that's something that I feel like is needed to be said.
Sure.
And then we had Justin.
Yes.
What a guy. I loved listening to him.
Yeah. He's a great speaker.
He's a great speaker.
Yeah.
I love listening to him on Monday nights. And he had a very painful story.
Yeah.
That you don't know what people go through.
Right. You don't know what happens behind closed doors.
No.
You know, once again, I'm going to keep saying it. Like, you see the person in recovery.
Yeah.
You have no clue what the devastation was beforehand, what he had to go through, what people have to go through to find that seat in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of pain and discomfort and sadness that is involved in that. And he had all of that in his story. Another young person, young in my eyes. I mean, I think said he was 24, 25.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. But like, to get recovery and work at your recovery at that age is, I give him so much credit. And I mean, he does the work. He's involved in 12-step council meetings and conventions and very involved in meetings and has jobs in meetings, and his outreach in his community is great, and he's doing all the things that keep you sober.
Yeah.
And doing all the things that keep you in recovery. And you know, I've seen him grow so much in the last year, and I just give him a lot of credit. I mean, it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, he's a cool guy to listen to. I definitely didn't know, you know, his background, and after listening to him, I just feel like he's a really cool dude. So I look forward to getting to know him more.
Yeah.
And then we had Justine.
Yeah, Justine was awesome. Once again, a person who's not tied in with addiction and alcoholism, but the holistic advocation that she does, the community that she has and has built, as well as the business that she built, is just remarkable. It's part of taking an idea and running with it and doing what you love.
Yeah.
You know, and finding that progress for growth, and that hunger for growth. And it's I've been friends with her for way too long, and it amazes me all the time when I put in perspective how much she's doing in her life.
Yeah.
And you know, it was great sitting and talking with her.
Yeah, she's super cool.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I met her, it was like the bubbliness of her. Like, I was immediately drawn to it.
Yeah.
Just sweet as pie. And I, you know, sometimes when you feel like, I don't know why, but like every time I'm around like any woman, like I get that like intimidation feeling.
Sure.
Like, and I just didn't feel that with her.
Right.
You know, like she was just such a warm soul.
Yeah,
and
she
maybe
is a
that's just
different
the
soul.
energy that she gives off, you know?
Yeah.
But she was super sweet, and it was awesome that she came in. I loved hearing about like her holistic journey, the way that how she wrote her book,
Right.
why she wrote it. And I think it was cool to know that, you know, that even if you don't have an addiction, you can still go through things, you know, and you're like, as like mentally,
Yeah.
like, and the way that she explained it, I thought was great. I can't wait to go check out her place.
Yeah.
Everybody go check it out.
Yeah. Soul Sanctuary, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Yes.
So many great things happening there. Yeah. And then, so next month we have 3 new guests coming on.
We won't say names.
Yeah. What's the names?
But we'll do a quick little description.
Yeah.
So our first guest, super excited to have him on. He is a huge runner. He found running helping with his addiction. I believe that we will confirm this, but I believe he is 10 years sober. We will, or maybe even a little bit longer than that. He does a lot of fundraising for addiction awareness and all of that. So we're going to get all of his information. He's a super cool dude. And I can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah. We talked a little bit through Zoom with him, and you could just hear his kind of like passion and enthusiasm for maybe just life, but like he seems like a very interesting person. I think that's going to be a great episode.
I
with
think
him.
you two have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be very interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Just by, choices of lifestyles.
Right.
Which I think that's going to be very cool to hear.
Cool.
The second we have on, he is actually a friend of mine. He and I kind of worked in the Providence scene together, both restaurant-ish, but not. He did performing for drag, and he also, lived a normal life as well. Well, not normal, but you know what I mean? Like he lived, the outside world without drag. So we are super excited to talk to him. He is in early recovery as well. Not too early like us. But
I thought he said he had a couple of years.
he has a couple of years. But not lengthy. Not a long length of time, I guess.
Okay.
I would say. But yeah, about 2 years. And we're excited to talk to him as well. He's, we're going to talk more about like the recovery world and see where we go from there.
Yeah. I always interested in talking with people that have totally different lifestyles than me, and him being gay, I have so many questions. Two of my best friends are gay, and it's very interesting to dive into how that was growing up and how you dealt with your parents or how your parents dealt with you. And in the gay scene, there's a very big demographic that has addiction and alcoholism problems. Yes. And so I'm very interested in talking with him and diving in how he got to recovery, and I love hearing the pain part, like what made you fucking an addict and alcoholic, what made you hurt so much that you wanted to escape. And so very interested in that.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting things that are going to be talked about in that episode, so definitely check that out. And then the third guest that we have is actually going to be Jess. She is Steve's sister, so this should be very fun.
Yeah, very excited for that one too. A great person to talk to, just shooting the shit, but she has very good insight into her own struggles with mental health and stuff, and juggling so many hats. She's a business owner, a dance instructor, she's a dancer, she's also does remodeling and costume design and makeup design, and the fucking list goes on. The girl doesn't fucking sit down. But also, I want to fucking hear how it was to deal with me. I wanted to hear the pain that went into my addiction tentacles.
How do you feel like that's going to make you feel? Do you feel like...
Oh, I'm going to love hearing it.
Are you?
Because I know I need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's important to me to understand or listen to the ramifications of my, of my disease.
Just like how we started this episode. It's just like seeing how it affected other people.
Absolutely. I'm so interested and intrigued. And, me and my sister sit down for fucking hours and just talk about growth and pain and things of that nature. And so, I'm very excited for that episode.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to dive deep. I also want to hear, her side of how, she felt with things, as you two were growing up. You also, there's other things we have to kind of throw in there when you guys were younger. And,
yeah, sure.
I'm super excited for that. So we have some awesome guests. Steve and I plan on actually doing the last episode of the month together. So at the end of each month, you will see us as just us, and we kind of recap.
Yeah.
And we also kind of just do a check-in as of how we did. if anybody has anything that they want specifically for us to talk about, please reach out to us via Instagram at Chaos in Recovery. We have everything, we send DMs back and forth. So it is just Steve and I on there. So bear with us. But we will definitely get back to you with any information.
Yeah. Also, you can email us at chaosinrecovery@gmail.com if anybody's interested in being a guest on the show.
Or knows anyone.
People of all walks of life. We don't care who they are, what they go through. I want to hear it all.
Everyone is welcome.
That's right.
So great.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
All right, cool.
All right.
See you guys next time. Bye.